Hey everybody, Stu Smith here going live. I hope you are well and hanging in there this Tuesday morning. Looks like weather for most of us is kind of crappy. Um, so let me know how you're doing. Say hi, and we'll get this thing started. So, going live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram all at the same time here using StreamYard. So I'm going to try to get to all of those comments and questions as we go. I just need to set up something right here because my lights are down. All right, a little better. Um, so we are working outside. Now, why do we work outside? Um, well, after COVID, we lost our weight room. And so we had to go outside. So, which kind of sucked. It was not the best thing to do, but we made the best of it. And we liked it so much, we never went back into the weight room. Now, if we want to lift a little heavier, a little more seriously, we'll go into the weight room. But for what we're doing um, in 20, 30-degree weather, we're able to do it, whether it's deadlifting, bench pressing. I just bring the weights in my truck and we get it done. Why do we do that? Well, if you're preparing for a job in the military, law enforcement, firefighter professions, you will be exposed to the elements, whether that is hot desert sun or cold Arctic air or anywhere in between. So, some of the things that I do to handle this cold, and let me tell you, I wake up in the morning just like everybody else. I'm nice and warm in my bed and, um, under the covers, getting up out of bed knowing I'm going out to the cold really really is not a peaceful thought, right? But you get up and you do it anyway. I think that's half the battle. Most of the people that are doing really well out here show up consistently, and that's the key. Whether it is hot or cold or anywhere in between, they're showing up. And I tell you what, I probably overdress when I'm doing it. Like I'm wearing pants. Sometimes I'll wear two sweatpants if I'm like 20 with some wind. Like the other day, it was 23 degrees running on the beach. You always got beach water, or sorry, air on the beach, wind coming off the beach, hitting you. That's never fun. Um, but lately, it's just been in the 30s. So that has been very tolerable. And it was funny because when we used to work out inside in the winter and do these winter lift cycles, if it was 30, 35 degrees, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be inside today. Not going to run on that. But now, after the last 3 or 4 years, we've gotten really tougher, I would say, just being able to handle the elements. So that's one outcome that has been very helpful, I think, for most of the folks, whether it's hot or cold. Let me just give you some tips on doing this, right? So, multiple layers, a dry wicking layer on the inside, like an Under Armour shirt, almost, like I'm doing now. You got the Under Armour shirt here, you got the cotton, whatever, polyester, wool blend top. Then wear something a little thicker on the outside of this, like a sweatshirt, and if it's you got some elements out there and it's going to rain on you, do a little soft shell type thing that's kind of water resistant. If it's really bad, you can wear something waterproof, but I found those just to make you sweat more, when it's not really breathable. Sometimes you can find a good breathable waterproof top, but you know, anyway, um, is what it is. Depends on how long you're out there. We're usually out there for like 2 hours. Um, Stay hydrated. Some people bring warm drinks in a thermos. Some people just drink water. I personally just drink water. Um, then we even actually have, another piece of advice I say limit time outside if you're going to be more than a couple hours outside at a time. Come inside, have a place to warm yourself up, or have some outdoor heaters. Sometimes I'll bring outdoor propane heaters out there just to take the sting off of off the hands because the hands start getting cold first, and the feet. And then what's the other one? Yeah, just have some backup. I usually have my truck ready in case somebody's really didn't dress well and they're hypothermic or getting into that hypothermic range. Haven't really seen that here because we just move so much that it's hard to get hypothermic when you're moving constantly. And I kind of designed the workouts like that so it's not your typical lift cycle. Like you don't typically see, bench press, rows, and then jog 2 minutes, in between sets. The reason why we're jogging is just to stay warm instead of just sitting there getting cold for the next set. So we'll just keep moving throughout that time. I'll bring a bike out. Some people who can't run will get on a bike, but I tell you, biking in cold really makes you cold. With that wind chill factor that hits you. But anyway, you have to be careful because a lot of times when you're really cold, your body goes into a heating process that constricts your blood vessels, brings all the warm blood to your core. Your extremities start getting colder, and if you're not very healthy, there are people who die every year shoveling snow, mainly because they're out there really pushing heavy snow, not really warmed up. It's really cold. Everything is constricting on them. Next thing you know, they're also on high blood pressure medications, and they have a heart attack. That is a very common way to die. So you do have to be somewhat cautious depending on your conditioning, on being able to handle extreme temperatures whenever you are training. So I did another one this summer on hot training, and this is just my little intro to the live Q&A. So you guys can send some questions. Happy to answer them. And I'll also show some CSS uh, activities as well. If you guys have those activities or questions with the videos that we submit. So CSS, want me to just go ahead and show it? First one, looks like we got a few questions here. Let me do this question first. Preparing for SOAS, just can and can currently maintain a 6-minute mile for about 5 to 6 minutes, not a full 9 minutes. Any advice on supplemental training in your phase 1 book? I mean, you can always add a few more sets to your 400s and 800s. Something I would suggest is do a quick warm up, and after you do like a leg day warm up, like squat pyramid 1 to 10, instead of running a mile and a half easy, hit it for a mile and a half. Instead of running a mile easy, do a good little warm up, get some stretches in there, and time your mile and a half. I think the more sets you get of timing that mile and a half, the better you're going to be with taking mile and a half tests. So, yeah, I mean, I could say, add more 400s, add more 800s, but I think you're going to be better off by just adding more mile and a halves. So, whenever you see that, mile run a mile and a half. Just get good at running that mile and a half and see where you are on your pace. Did I take any supplements when you power lifted? Just protein powder. Back then, this was in the 80s, so we didn't really have a lot to choose from back then. And I just ate well and took protein powder. I guess back then they called it weight gain powder or weight gain formula, but it was mostly protein. So, all right, let me share my screen here. I'm going to pull this up and show a CSS. You guys over on Instagram should be able to see this. All right, so I'll pull up some of these. These are from this week. Let me see what this one. Not great, but not horrible. Let's see. Kicks off the wall. Got a weird little dolphin kick there. I'm not sure what that is. I don't think that's even needed. The moving of the hips like that. That's not doing anything for you. So you just glide. Keep your head down too. Whenever see how your head down is down now, but then when you pull your head's up, keep your head just facing the bottom. Top arm, bottom arm, kick and glide. Top arm, bottom arm, kick. One Mississippi, two Mississippi, pull. You might be over gliding, losing some momentum. One Mississippi, two Mississippi, three. Yeah. If I can count the three Mississippis, one Mississippi, two Mississippi, three Mississippi. Yeah. You're over gliding. Um, I think we need to just pull the glide 1 second shorter. See how you lose momentum? One Mississippi, two Mississippi, pull. Yeah, you're just over gliding just a little bit. But I will say this, see how you pull that top arm and then you're pausing the bottom arm? Don't do that, right? Turn your head, get your face out of the water with the top arm, breathe with the bottom arm, kick and glide. I personally like to do this more on my side on the kick, but then roll over like you are right there on my belly when I'm gliding. You don't have to do that, but I find it you just do less plowing of the water with your shoulder whenever you're gliding. See how you're kind of gliding there and the shoulders plowing the water? Roll over just like 45-degree angle, just get that shoulder underwater while you glide. That will be a little better. This isn't that good of a CSS. But it's not horrible. You got the timing down. You got to pull harder, kick harder. I think your kick's a little weak. There's a second one you sent. I can't remember why you sent me two, if they were the same one or if you did something different. Maybe you took out the breaststroke pullout. Yeah, your kick's off. Your kick's a little weak. Those flutter kicks need to go. See how you're almost like 90 degrees out kicking me right there? That's a really big kick from the hips, and you want to be more power driven from the knees down when you do this kick. Oh shit, you guys can't see this one. Damn it. Sorry. All right, let's do this one again. So he sent another one. I can't remember why you sent two. Like you said, you were trying something different. Be honest with you, I'm not seeing it. Maybe it was the breaststroke pullout. You did one without, one with, maybe. So you're still over gliding regardless. See how you okay? So see how you glide here. So after you do that top arm, you should be pulling the bottom arm now, right? You got that like 1-2 second hold, almost like you're doing an elementary side stroke right there, right? That needs to be pulling a little sooner. And then overall, your glide, one Mississippi, two Mississippi, three Mississippi, four Mississippi. Yeah, you're over gliding. You should be pulling on three. Let's fix that first, and then let's see if your kick and streamline could make you glide a little faster. Whew. All right, let's do another one real quick. I don't see any questions here. Maybe there's some questions over here at yep, a couple questions over here on Instagram. Been having some back problems with the 12-week PST program. Any reasoning, or have you seen this before? I mean, maybe you need to stretch your back more, do some foam rolling. Um, I mean, sit ups. I mean, there are some sit ups in there, but I try to balance it out with planks pretty well. So if you're seeing a high amount of sit ups in your workout, um, re- maybe do half of them, but other half being plank poses just to work on some core. But I also have another question for you. I have noticed when people complain about back injury or back pain, back soreness, is a lot of times people are running early morning in the dark, and I know that when I run in the dark, that's why I wear this big light on my head just so I can see where my feet are hitting. It's like your back takes these little micro flexes to compensate for where it thinks your feet are going to hit, and it gets them wrong. And it's like these little errors of flexing that occur when you run. If you're running in the dark, take a look at that because that could be leading to your back pain. I just remember one of the sorest my back has ever been is I was in high school. We were doing sprints, and it was first thing in the morning before the sun came up, dark as hell. And I didn't do anything else, until noon that day. I lifted, but before noon, my back was just killing me. And I've done sprints before. I just never done sprints in the dark before. I remember we were running to the coach's headlights, but everything else before that was pitch black, and I was sore. So I've always been very understanding of back soreness occurring from running in the dark. So consider that if that is something that you are doing. Other than that, just keep adding some core activities to it. Don't see any other questions over there. So let me I'm going to share another video here. This might be a little better one. Um More useful. Let's see. Let me get over here. Share this. All right. So we have a swimmer here, non-swimmer actually, non-swimming athlete. So here's how you can tell a non-swimmer. All right. So see those other flutter kicks when you're kicking off the wall? It's kind of a waste of time, waste of energy too. They just make you tired. In fact, all these extra flutter kicks in between the CSS kick and glide, just waste of energy. Right now, looks like you have a pretty decent flutter kick, so you're getting somewhere with it, but it is really unsustainable for most non-swimming athletes trying to ace a 500-yard swim test. What happens is you might have a fast 50, maybe even a fast 100, but after that, it all falls apart. Now, here's something I came to the front of this one just because this is what's going on, and probably one of the reasons why you feel like you have to flutter kick is notice your head. Your head is really coming out of the water a lot. Like I see this bottom ear coming out of the water. Um, it usually means your body position is going to shift and your feet are going to drop. Then you feel like your feet are dragging and you got to flutter kick with them. So I'm thinking that's probably why you're adding the flutter kicks. And you could definitely be a little more streamline conscious. Top arm, bottom arm. That top arm's pretty good. The bottom arm could be a little tighter to your body. I can't really see it here, but I could see it on the other side when you were from the back. It seems like you're almost going like you do this little half pull. You do this half pull, and then you bring it right back this way. See what I'm saying right there? It could be a little tighter to the body and come up together. Hands pointing this way, right? You want to be tight so everything when you're recovering comes tight to the body versus kind of out here. It's like some of the brakes on. And then the problem with when you pop your head up like this, it's just one of those things that it just causes you to lose momentum. All right, let's see. Let me read another question here. I'm stuck at around 10-minute 500 with CSS. Any advice for me? I'm 6'2", don't have flutter kick. Um, probably the best way to do that is it's either a technique issue that I can see with a video, or it's a conditioning issue that um, you just need to keep swimming 50/50s. Um, I've seen a lot of people stuck at 10 minutes, and if they do this 50/50 workout 20 times, that means 5 times a week for a month. I've seen them drop below 9, even 8 flat in 4 weeks. So 9 times out of 10, it's a conditioning issue, but your issue could also be an issue with, technique. So I don't know. At 6'2", you should be pretty built for swimming. You're not a short guy. People say short guys can't swim, while taller guys have better leverage in the water than a short person. Short guys can swim fast too. So I'm not saying because you're short you can't swim, but because you're 6'2", there's no excuse in why you can't swim a little faster with longer arms and longer legs pulling and kicking more water. Um, let's do one more of these and then I'll just get the questions. All right, so this one's going to be a better one for you. I can tell already. So I always like to have a really good CSS up here too, because 9 times out of 10 I get some that just aren't that good. So let's see what we got here. So kick off the wall, good streamline. I like this streamline here. Notice he's not kicking, he's just gliding. That's how you do it. Nice. One hand on top of the other. Good double arm pull. Holds that glide. Good. Tight recovery. Did you see how tight his arm recovery was? Like he wasn't all out. Like I can't see his hands like creating a perpendicular, force against the water. So that's a nice tight streamline. Top arm, bottom arm. Good transition into the stroke. Now I would say here, like the other guy was over gliding. I think he's under gliding. One Mississippi, two Mississippi. Yeah. So I can't even say one Mississippi, two Mississippi. Yeah. So I can't even say pull with that third Mississippi. So I think for you, let's relax a little bit. You got a great streamline. You got a great kick. Got a great arm pull. Everything looks really good. The timing of the stroke is really good. You just need to hold that glide just one more second, right? Let's see it. One Mississippi, two Mississippi, pull. See? I mean, it is so close. It's going to make a big difference because it will probably take a couple of strokes off per length, which, when you're doing, you're doing 10 length or 20 lengths of a pool, take off 2 or 3 strokes per length, and now you're, a lot less tired um, because of it. So I like that one. That's a good one. I think I might have one more actually. Can't remember when I got that one. No, I guess that's it. All right, so I'm not going to worry about CSS critiques anymore. If you want to see CSS critiques, I got a ton of them. You can go to the Instagram Reels, ton of them over there. Also got them over at TikTok, same address as my Instagram, StuSmith50, and you can definitely find a whole bunch of CSS videos to compare and contrast your CSS to. In fact, I would recommend you filming, whether or not you send it to me or not. Film yourself swimming, and you can see almost immediately what you're doing wrong. It's not doesn't take like a professional swimmer or even me, who've been coaching CSS for a lot of long years, a lot of time, several decades. Um, so you will see. So give it a shot. And if you want, send it to me. Happy to review it. Good morning, Stu. PST Friday. Any tips or anything to do today or two before doing the PST? You know what? I wouldn't sweat it too much. Be honest with you. Um, I would definitely maybe do 50% of what you normally do Wednesday. Um, Maybe even take a day off Wednesday if you wanted to, but or a mobility day. That's a really good one. But something I have found that if you rest too much, sometimes, if you're not running and swimming, it just feels like you haven't run and swim ever before when you rest. Like if you take a whole week off before a PST, it's probably the worst thing you can do for most non-swimming athletes and non-running athletes because you need to run, right? You might come back stronger if you were doing a bench press or a squat competition, but since you're doing high reps and endurance, you really kind of need to keep it, but have fresh legs is probably the biggest thing. So don't do legs on Wednesday. Just some 50% of what you normally would. Take Thursday to be a mobility day or day off, just stretch, get a little cardio, something easy, non impact, have fresh legs going into this test, and then go crush it on Friday. And make sure you're not doing anything new, right? What I mean by that is the same foods that you would eat before a workout, drink before a workout, drink during a workout, do that during the test. The test day is not the day to test out new things because chances are, especially if you're going to do caffeinated stuff, don't do caffeinated stuff because that's going to screw up your cardio events, make you feel like you have a heart attack when you're swimming and running. Lay off the caffeine, have a nice steady normal heart rate going into this. You'll be aerobic longer versus jumping into it anaerobic because your heart rate's all jacked up. People die taking PFTs jacked up on caffeine. It has happened. You can Google it. Unfortunately, we had one or two over here at the Naval Academy that did that. And that's a basic PST. I'm talking about push ups, plank, and a 1.5 mile run. So be careful with that one. All right. So latest running PR, 7 miles in 62 minutes. Not bad. Still a long way to go. That's getting there. Hey, the fact you can run 7 miles nonstop is great. Just pick it up. I would say, if you can flirt with 7 miles at 56, try to break that hour. I think that's going to be probably a better pace for you. 56 is an 8-minute mile for 7 miles. And then, start playing around with little shorter distances at 7-mile pace, 7-minute mile pace. Sorry. So maybe shoot for 5 miles in 35 minutes or 4 miles in 28 minutes. All right. If I sign a contract with the Army National Guard at MEPS, can I pull out and join the Navy active duty? Yeah, I mean, pretty much the way it works. I don't recommend doing that, but you can. The way it works is you're not officially in the Army or in the Navy until you take the oath at boot camp. And like when you sign up for a contract, I mean, you're technically not in the Army yet, right? You just aren't until you swear on the dotted or whatever, swear the oath at basic training. Now, I'm not sure about National Guard, probably the same, but put it this way: the Army's going to be pissed at you. The Navy will not be. The Navy will be glad they're getting you. So maybe talk to a Navy recruiter first and see what you can do, because they're going to want you. So, but I will say this: don't join Navy active duty if you're not ready, especially if you're going to be doing something in the spec ops world. You got to swim and you got to crush a PST before you go to boot camp. You may not have time to do all that if you're not ready now to go talk to that recruiter. So, one of my rules: I'm going to start rucking 1 day a week at 55 years old. What's a good weight and distance to start with? Good point. You know what? It really kind of depends. I would keep it, 15, 20 pounds, in a backpack. So I'm a 200-pound guy. So 10% of my body weight's a good place to start. So depending on what you weigh, take 10% of it, put it in a backpack or a weight vest, and start, right? Once a week. Turn it into your normal walk. That is one of those things that you'll find that you don't really have to progress that much. Like if you're normally doing a 3 or 4 mile walk that day, turn it into carrying 10 pounds on a backpack, same 2, 3, 4 miles. See how you feel, right? If you're feeling like that kicked your ass, then probably drop the mileage a little bit. But once a week's not a big deal. And keep it at like maybe every month add 5 to 10 pounds. That's a good progression. few lives ago. Oh, okay. Weird start of the question. You touched on a subject of driving out a teammate during buds for a little bit. Could you elaborate this subject more in the future and subjects like what makes a good team? Yeah, I don't recommend doing it. There's definitely ways to do it, right? And it's not one of those things that it's your job to drive anybody out of a boat crew or from under a log. You're a student just like that guy is, right? What gives you the right to say you don't belong here? Now, you can do this. I don't recommend doing it in the while it's happening. You can say, "Hey, get your head under the boat, quit slacking." You can say stuff like that, but to just deliberately drive someone out of the boat is really toxic, right? It is a toxic form of leadership, and it can just tear apart the team. Now, it's kind of clicky, so it will bring some people together that are all in the same physical stature and abilities. But the way I would do it is say, look, you're killing us under the boat, right? Maybe during lunch or something, when everything's calmed down, say you're killing us under the boat. Seriously think about either putting out, bring your A game to this next event, or don't. But to just drive someone out, get them hurt, trip them, do stuff like that, that is just really uncalled for. And it can be discussed offline, one on one, versus teaming up against one guy and driving them out. That's really kind of the coward's way of doing it versus just saying, hey, it's time to man up. Either you man up or you get it, or pick another job because you're killing us. Pull your weight type of stuff. Some people just need to hear that. They hear that, they're like, oh, okay, sorry. Some people say, ooh, we're right, this isn't for me, and they leave. They do it themselves versus you doing it deliberately, if that makes any sense. That's just my opinion. You'll probably see other people with different opinions on that. And hey, whatever. H2, quick question. I was treading water, find it slightly easier if I use the surface tension of the water to slightly hold my head. Is that considered cheating? Um, yeah, I've seen people tread with their kind of face out of the water with their head in the water. Um, Look, you're going to have different criteria depending on what tread test you're taking. You know, there'll be some where you got to like have your whole neck and head out of the water. There'll be some where they just want your hands out of the water and they don't care. Um, there'll be some with fins, there'll be some without fins. I've seen some guys just have their hands out of the water and their faces all the way underwater. They're just coming up to breathe because they're struggling with the weight belt. So, um, be able to do it all, right? Just don't quit. That's the biggest thing they're looking for. What's your opinion and experience on alcohol consumption and physical fitness? Well, I will tell you, when I was younger, I was a lot stupider because I liked to drink and go out, have fun. And, in hindsight, probably shouldn't have done it as much as I did. Just because I remember coming back Monday just feeling beat down. And there was a reason for that because I didn't sleep very well Saturday. Tried to catch up on Sunday, wasn't enough, and was beat down on Monday. I mean, still got through it, gutted your way through it, but it could have been a whole lot easier on my body. And, I probably didn't have to engage mental toughness as soon because I was just hurting. Right. So, personally, I don't drink anymore. In fact, I probably haven't had a drink now, I think, since I was 50 years old. So, yeah, almost 5 years now. So, just quit. No particular reason. Just quit. And I wasn't really drinking that much. I'd drink a beer maybe when I cooked on the grill. If I had a case of beer in my house it would take me probably 2 months to drink. So drinking one every other day or something. But I just gave it up because it got to a point where if I drank two or three, my stomach would hurt for the next day, right? And it just didn't agree with me. It wasn't helping me do anything. I don't need it to have fun. So once you realize that, um, you'll realize that it's just not a necessity. Hey, thanks for taking time out of your day to answer these questions on the pyramid scheme. Pyramid scheme is a really poor title for that. It sounds like I'm trying to sell Amway. It's a pyramid workout, right? The pyramid workout, not a scheme, right? Would you recommend adding dips and squat to it if it hinders your ability to max out on pull-ups? I like to do multiple exercises with it because if you pick the right exercises to do it, like pull up, push ups, squats, right? That's a pull, that's a push, that's a leg. It's the perfect workout, if you ask me, because it's going to start off as a warm up, work your way to a max, cool you back down. Love the pyramid. Um, been doing it since the 80s, and it's still part of my regular week. Um, so I really doubt if a leg exercise and a push exercise are hindering your pull-ups. Probably even if you weren't doing squats and pull-ups, the pyramid would hinder your ability to max out on pull-ups. Um, I don't know. Try it. Try it without it and see. Have been working on learning the total immersion style of swimming, but found my legs sinking as a bigger guy. Any advice? Usually, leg sinking are part of a body positioning process of your head coming up. If you're coming up, your head's coming up out of the water to breathe versus turning it with your head in the water, like half your face is still in the water when you're inhaling. Um, that will help you keep flat if you keep your head down. As soon as your head pops up, your feet are going to drop, just the way it works. Could be a core issue too. Might have to just be a little more aware of what you're doing with your core, because if you're relaxing and everything, it's just real easy to be your body position kind of screws up. So pull hard. You might find pulling a little better if you're doing freestyle or CSS even. Um, freestyle for total immersion guy, make sure you're getting a good freestyle catch, because if you're pulling well, your feet will just follow and be up toward the surface and then just do little flutter kicks. So I'm assuming your total immersion style of swimming is for freestyle. Just add little flutter kicks in there. How to do it. All right, let's see what we got over here on Instagram. Anybody talking? Been having okay, back problem guy. Let's see. Took the PST swimming 1324. How can I improve? By swimming. First of all, if you took a PST officially with the Navy and you swam a 1324, you must be living under a rock, because one of my number one rules is do not join the Navy until you can crush the PST. Right now, if you're just taking this on your own and you are assessing yourself, that's great. That's where you want to be, right? And you haven't even talked to a recruiter yet, you're okay. If you've already talked to a recruiter, signed on, gone through MEPS, now you're on their timeline and you got to fix that 1324 in their time, not your time. So, with that little rant over, um, time to work on the 50-50. If you haven't heard of the 50-50, Google the term 50-50 CSS Stu Smith. It's a great workout. In fact, if you go to Instagram, which you already are, and you look up Let me see. I thought I had one saved on here. Crush the PST. Yeah, one of those highlighted ones. Coaching skills. That's a good one too. Yeah, but if you just Google the term 50-50, if you haven't heard of the 50-50, once again, you might be living under a rock. But that is the workout you need to do 5 or 6 days a week in order to turn that 13:24 into a faster swim. Now, could also be a technique issue. So take a video, have somebody walk alongside the pool with you, filming a video of you swimming so you can see what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. Send it in. Happy to look at it. But you got to get in there more. You can't be swimming once a week with that score. You got to be in the water 5 times a week. So it's a quick first movement and a long tail. I have no idea what you're talking about, Texas. Would you recommend Navy or Air Force Special Warfare for someone who is 31 years old? Air Force Special Warfare would probably be a better option for you just because the age limit is a lot higher. Do you have a simple calf ankle strengthening routine to help prevent shin splints? Been dealing with recurring shin splints and think it's due to overpronation. Yeah, Google the term shin splints, Stu Smith. Probably have about 3 articles out there. I wrote an article with another guy who is a doctor of physical therapy. He had some really good, helpful tips in there. But Google the term shin splints, Stu Smith, recurring shin splints, Stu Smith. You should see 2 or 3 articles on the topic. I asked a question earlier when you started your live. If possible, can you respond in a DM? That'd be okay with me. I don't know. Did I not answer it? I'm scrolling back. I don't see it. Yeah, send it in a DM if I didn't answer it. All right, let's see what else we got over here. Any more? Tristan's back. Hey, by the way, Tristan, I wrote an article on one of your questions. I changed your name because it's an Ask Stu article, but let me see. I think you asked something about running and swimming last week. Goals to improve your 3-mile and 1,500-meter swim. Yeah, for Air Force Special Warfare. Check out this article. I'm going to put it in the comment section over here on both pages. But if you're over on Instagram, I know you can't pull it up, by just clicking it. So you may want to just Google the title and do that. But it is the title of this one of these goals can improve your running swimming times for special ops fitness, because your question was what's a realistic time to drop off 3-mile run and a 1,500-meter swim per week. I want to set a reasonable goal increments for my upcoming training block. So basically I answered that as a weekly goal probably is better done with consistency. So have a consistency goal per week, because you're not going to see a huge change in your run and swim times in a week. You might see it in 2 weeks, but you'll definitely see it in 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. So focus on a consistency goal per week and then maybe a performance goal every other week. So anyway, you asked a question last week. I just wanted to answer that one. Hey, Stu, I've been doing frog hops and jump overs to give my legs a little more explosiveness. Those are awesome. Would leg extension and leg curls be redundant to that, or would that be a good supplement? I would treat it like a supplement. Another really good one too is jumping, like go down like you have a kettlebell, like you're instead of doing a swing, do a squat, and then whenever you are coming up, explodes so much that you actually clear the air by like 6 inches. So it's like a jumping kettlebell squat. That's another good one for explosiveness. Is there a top score in, for example, pull ups in the PFT, or does it score just go up with no ceiling? Depends on what branch you're talking about. Most, the Marine Corps has a max, right? I think depending on your age, you still have to do like 20 pull ups. If you're a little younger, you might have to do 23 pull ups now. I think they just changed it, but there's no max for like the Navy PST. If you're trying out for buds or SWIC or whatever, there's a minimum. Like you got to get 10 or whatever the minimum number is. By the way, I don't know the minimums. I never focus on the minimums. Just try to do 2 times the minimums. So yeah, 20 plus. I mean, I've seen guys do 60. So there's no max. The max is you. Let's see. Don't know what that is. So a couple of you guys are asking stupid questions over here. Huh. Let's see. Other questions. Oh, looks like we're about done. So I don't have any more videos to share. If you guys are looking for more videos like critiques to watch, um, if you don't like the TikTok app, which I understand. You don't have to go get the TikTok app. In fact, you can just go to your desktop computer and just type in the address of TikTok there, and this one right here, and you can actually see all of these. And I quit counting at like 150. So all of these are either mine or submitted CSS video critiques, and we do everything. We even have some swimming with camis, for those recon guys, and some people swim in 640s. This is a solid one here. You want to see a real good one? When you're flirting with 640 on your CSS, it's pretty good. Top arm, bottom arm kick. Now this was a swimmer. He's got like a really small breaststroke kick, but it's really effective. Yeah, he does this lap in like 41 seconds. You can see he's mostly underwater with it. Really good swimming shape. Just kills it. Not a lot of effort. Looks slow, but when you look at the clock at the end of this 50-yard lap, I mean, that's 40, 38, 40, 41 seconds. I mean, you can't beat that. So there's a whole lot of good ones in here. You can pick up a ton of great ideas in fixing your swim. A common kick error, lot of common errors here. Oh, here's the 50-50 swim workout that I was telling you about if you're living under a rock and never seen it. So it's 50 free followed by 50 CSS, and you do that 10 times. End it with a 500-yard swim, or begin it with a 500-yard swim. You got yourself a really good swim workout. You do that 20 times. I've seen people go from 10 minutes to 8 minutes just with that. And that's free advice, folks. Just do it, right? Don't have to buy anything. But if you want to, you can. You can go over to StuSmithFitness.com. In fact, since you're sticking around this long and hanging out with me, I appreciate it. You can use the live15 coupon code, save 15% on those programs over there. Um, it's not much, but it's something. I appreciate your time. So looks like I don't have any more questions. One guy says how to get a longer glide in the CSS. Kick hard and be tight on your streamline. That last video I just showed, watch that guy, because you can see he's got a good kick, but he's got an even better perfect streamlined body position. If you're not streamlined right, you're probably plowing the water, and that's going to screw up your glide. So I guess that's the last question. So we'll end the videos live over here on Instagram, but I'm still got a few more questions over here with you guys. Um, looks like Gary says 60 pull-ups, no kipping. Yes, no kipping. Can't kip. Yeah, I actually saw one guy do 72, no kipping. Now, in fairness, they don't allow this anymore. This was back in the early 90s. You could hang, shake off an arm, and get back on. You couldn't leave the bar, right? But you could grab, long as you were grabbing the bar and not touching the ground, you could shake off an arm, grab it, shake off an arm, do 5, 10 more pull-ups. There was no time limit on pull-ups. You just did pull-ups until you couldn't do any more pull-ups. And the fact that somebody can just hang there, I don't know if you ever tried that, just try hanging on a bar with one hand. You'll see that's not easy either. So I would, every time I'd see somebody do that, I'd say, you know what? If you can hang up there with one hand, more power to you, right? So we didn't deduct him for being able to do it, or prevent him from being able to do that by deducting any pull-ups after that. But yeah, that's what he did. What's the best way to increase your number of pull-ups? You know, you need to read an article of mine called the Pull-Up Protocol. Personally, there's 3 different ways, right? Um, there's 10 days of daily pull-ups. Um, depending on your number, you read this article, it will tell you what that number is. So read that article I just put in there. The other one is 3 favorite workouts that I like to do, right? And this is a week's worth of training of the 3 different workouts that will take your pull-ups to another level if they're already at a certain level. So if you're less than 10, I would do the 2-week protocol where you do 5 times your max of pull-ups for 10 straight days, rest 3 days, and then test on day 14. That's one way. The other way is do this week of training where you do a pyramid, a superset, and a max rep set pull-up workout. And then you just keep doing that. And probably about 4 to 5 weeks, you'll see you get taken off of that plateau. If you're stuck at like 15 or so, you'll be up in the 20s. Usually it's the max rep set pull up workout that does it on that second article I just put in there. Is there a pace with pull ups that reduces the amount of swinging? You know what? That's a good question. You got to find it for yourself. I think what most people do to um, quit swinging is they just kind of flex their core a little bit more, arch, have their lats engaged a little bit more. Some people bend their knees a little bit. That helps them. Um, versus keeping everything so rigid and straight. Sometimes that creates like a board motion of swinging. But if you bend your knees and kind of relax from the knees down, sometimes that you just got to find it. But do a Google search on it. I'm sure there's other people that have methods that can help you figure that out. All right, so looks like I'm gonna go, folks. It's been a good one. I got one more question and then I got to take off. So, week 9 of your 12 weeks to buds, 150 flutter kicks straight as an ass kicker. Yes. Yes, they are. I have a very strong core, but I can barely get to 100. Just do what you can. You know, I it's one of those events that you're not going to get kicked out because your feet drop on the grinder because you can't do 150 4-count flutter kicks. You will probably get sent to the surf zone and you're wet and sandy and things like that. So it's a little annoying, but it's not going to get you kicked out. So as long as you can do 100 4 count flutter kicks, you know, you can suck it up and maybe try a little bit more. I will tell you this though, what was the reason why I put so many flutter kicks in that is I just remember being on the grinder eh, doing flutter kicks, wet and sandy with boots on, realizing, I wasn't prepared for weighted flutter kicks. Because every time I did flutter kicks, I was either in dry pants, boots, shorts, tennis shoes, flutter kick all day, right? You get wet and sandy mixed in there doing flutter kicks, it sucks. It sucks pretty good. So I would practice some of that as well. So, but yeah, if you can do 100, that's good. 150 is better. All right, guys, I got to run. It's been a pleasure. I'll chat with you guys next week.